Morning and welcome to NWR's Vantage Point conference. Up next, we've got IODM on the line from the company today with the Managing Director and CEO, Mark Riley. And before I hand it over to Mark to go through the presentation up on your screen, I'll just remind you that we're running a bit of a punchier format, so sort of 10, 12 minute preso, followed by more of a sort of Q&A interactive session, which you can submit through the Q&A panel down the bottom of the screen. But Mark, I'll hand it over to you to go through the preso. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Simon, and good morning, everyone, and thank you to NWR for the invitation to attend today. As Simon told you, my name is Mark Riley. I'm the CEO of IODM Limited, and I'm happy to sort of present our story to you today. So, usual disclaimer that you would have seen before. So, IODM, obviously, we're an ASX listed company, but we're in the technology accounting space where we specialise in a digital accounts receivable solution. And I'll go into that in more detail. We're headquartered in Melbourne, although we do operate globally across several continents. And we have part of our sales process or go-to-market strategies. We have a global partnership with Convera, who were formerly known as Western Union Business Solutions. So just a quick background on the company. Our board of directors, they're all non-executive directors that oversee an executive team led by myself. Paul Kasian, David Ireland, Tony Smith and Brian Jamieson all have significant experience both in public company management and also in the financial sector and in equities as well. So very strong board across there. The executive team is led by myself. I'm a chartered accountant, 25, 30 years experience, started at Coopers and Lybrand back in the days where I was insolvency professional, and am well versed to sort of see the problems that companies are facing in regards to cash flow and accounts receivable. Ably supported by a team consisting of Katrina Helsel as COO, James Burke, our Chief Technology Officer, and Graham Smith, who heads up our UK division and importantly manages that relationship with Convera. So what is IODM? Our platform is known as IODM Connect. So what does it do? It's a cloud-based digital workflow solution. So we digitalize a workflow in a business or an organisation that improves the order to cash cycle and unlocks operational efficiencies using a myriad of AI, OCR and RPA to speed up manual processes and largely to eliminate a lot of manual processes in business today. We integrate easily with any ERP and within divisions as well, multiple divisions across multiple jurisdictions. We help businesses restructure their departments and it's incredibly scalable. We support clients that are sending out 1,000 invoices a month or 100,000 invoices a month. The system is incredibly scalable. And one of the important things that we're finding out from our clients is the reporting the system generates. It gives management a very powerful tool to be able to make decisions, whether that be cash flow forecasting, whether that be around different structures in terms of accounts receivable, where they need to deploy resources, clients that need support. It provides them with a myriad of powerful management reporting. So what are the benefits of automation? We hear automation used all the time, but as we see it, when it comes to accounts receivable, which is the lifeblood of any business that extends credit to clients, if you haven't got an efficient accounts receivable system and you're not collecting your cash, it affects your business enormously. So those benefits, as we see it, are, as I said, reduction or removal of current manual processes, increase in productivity, particularly a release in working capital. Businesses where we're arguably in difficult or challenging times at the moment, where cash flow is tight, revenues arguably can be flat, margins are getting tighter. Collection of cash and management of accounts receivable becomes more important. The management of the tail, a lot of clients, forget about the clients that owe them smaller amounts of money and that tail blows out. automation gets to the tail the same time as it gets to the people that owe you more money. As I said, reduction of OPEX, and we've seen transition of FTE out of accounts receivable, so reducing OPEX. And as I said, it's scalable. We've got company international businesses that have cross-jurisdictional divisions and jurisdictions, and they're seamlessly added on as they go. If they make an acquisition, it's added on. So the order to cash process, we're involved in every part of it. We can participate in every part of it, from the invoicing to statements and reminders about payment, and then capturing those payments through integrated merchants such as Convera. But we follow every step of that order to cash process. And if you look at the other side, this is the second part of the loop. We have a cash allocation tool, which talks to the bank file, matches any unrecognized payments up using AI, and extracts that and posts that information back into the ERP. So we can close out the loop. We're involved in the invoicing if the client needs us to be. We're involved in reminding the clients to pay, getting in front of the terms of trade, and they're involved at the back end when the cash comes in, allocating it. So the client has an end-to-end automated, efficient process for its AR and cash collection. So with the notifications, I mean, I suspect a lot of you, get notifications if you buy things on credit, whether it's from a tradie or something like that, or some other business that you initiate a transaction with. What we do with our notifications, they send it out. They're branded in the client's livery. You don't know it's IODM, but we have ability for clients to pay online or pay through the communication, be that in a foreign currency. They can query the amount, and that's interactively. They can open a support ticket, and there's a chat function. There's credit allocation. If they've had a credit, they can put that into the system, and that gets absorbed back into the ERP and adjusts their balance. They can choose to pay if the client wishes to offer installment or payment terms. They can enter into an installment payment plan via our platform. And it's more importantly, it sets up weekly reminders and day plans for the AR team. So they know when they have to send reminders to and where they have to go to. And it's all housed in one ecosystem. It's housed in our structure. There's no spreadsheets anymore. It's all housed in one system. So you've got a centralized, coherent audit trail as well. I spoke about Convera earlier, so and our partnership with Convera centres around, at the moment, the university space or education space, particularly in the UK. Convera specialise in cross-border currency movements, and what they do with the universities is that they allow foreign students who are coming to in this case the UK to study at, say, London School of Economics. They get issued an invoice from London School of Economics, and they pay that invoice through Western Union, and Western Union charge them a foreign currency transaction fee. So we're putting this into the unis, and the unis are taking this up quite aggressively because it improves the payment journey for the students. It's end-to-end for the students because all their information is pre-populated. It's easy and efficient for them. The communication's clear, and they get reminders that go out on a set date. And also, for the unis, they'd like the feature that a student can enter into a payment plan. If they want to pay their fees, their tuition over a period of 4 to 6 months, they can initiate that through the system, and they take that on board. So we're looking to, at the moment, that's a strong feature with Convera in the UK, and it's about to be launched in North America as well with their education vertical. The cash allocation tool is a new development, but it's critical to closing out that loop, as I said, from traditional accounts receivable. So a lot of businesses experience that clients make payments into their bank accounts, but there's not enough reference around it, and there's a lot of manual process involved in reconciling that. Big enterprise clients, we've got clients who receive 12,000 payments a month. And they're spending hours upon hours of manually reconciling that. With our system, it uses technology to work a way around and eliminate who that may be, and come up with a perfect match, or reduce the match down to 1 or 2 clients or invoices that may be. Then the accounts receivable team doesn't have to spend as much time as they were trying to reconcile it. They know that it's, the system's reduced it down to a handful of people or invoices that it can be. Instead of spending hours, they're spending minutes reconciling the payments. And of course, we've got data security. We're very mindful of that. We have a lot of healthcare clients, and obviously data security is important, and privacy is important to anyone, but it sort of takes on an extra level when there's people's medical records involved as well. We're ISO 27001 certified, so we have that global certification. All our data is based is hosted on Amazon and stays in country. So the UK data stays in the UK. Australian data stays in Australia, and North American data will stay in North America. So it doesn't leave the jurisdictions. Full backups are done daily and deltas every half an hour. And we have we allow our clients to have tiered security access to the system. And we have 24/7 follow the sun support as well for our international businesses. So essentially, that's a quick overview of what we do, where we're heading. As I said, our largest growth market is in the UK with Convera in the education space, but our domestic market is growing significantly as we see the challenging headwinds, rising interest rates that businesses are facing are just making that collection of cash and that making their processes more efficient all the more important to them. And we're seeing massive take up of larger enterprise clients who now want to integrate with us and as I said, put our system in to make their systems more efficient.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Mark. It was really great elevator pitch, not easy to do. First question, just on the revenue model. Can you help us understand how the revenue model for education is different to the normal accounts receivable clients?
Sure. So normally we're a SaaS-based model for general commercial clients. So our healthcare clients, our materials handling clients, our logistics clients, they pay a monthly subscription it's generally based on the number of invoices that are going through their system on a monthly basis. And that can range anywhere from $1,000 a month to $15,000 a month, depending on the number of invoices that go through their system. The university model that we've developed with the Convera through that partnership is that we don't have a commercial relationship with the universities. This forms part of Convera's offering to the university. So the university gets our product for free, and we have a revenue sharing model with Convera on the transactions that go through the foreign exchange through their platform. So it's a transaction model for the universities, but as I said, based on a volume of dollars that go through the payments they take through their FX platform from students.
Great, thanks, Mark. Just referring to a few comments from the December quarterly, we talked of an initial 47,500 students and an increase on the forecast of 8,750, which the invoices were expected to be loaded into the next billing cycle in February, March. Can you just give us an update in terms of did this happen and were the invoices sent out?
Yeah, so yes, to answer the first question, we are uploading more invoices from students. We have experienced some delays. Well, not necessarily delays. We've worked out that the universities don't have set times, not like Australia, where they send out their invoices, they go at different times. So yes, they are sending out the invoices. We have probably now, I think we're punching for June, July to have about 500,000 to 600,000 students invoices live. We focus on student numbers now, Simon, because different universities have a different level of international students. One university might have 2,500. There's one that has 27,500. So the answer to your question is yes, those invoices are constantly getting loaded into the system, and there's different sort of peak periods and troughs as well, because they bill in trimester periods. So there'll be some billing that goes through in certain months, and there'll be quiet months. But basically, we're on track, and that number is growing as new universities start to adopt the software and load their students on. And then obviously, as I alluded to, we're about to go live in North America with Convera as well, which will have obviously follows that same Northern Hemisphere timetable.
Sure. Just a continuation on that. Again, we sort of talked about a further 52,500 being loaded by June to 100,000 in total. I'm assuming that is a continuation on the last answer, but that'll happen as well.
Yeah, we're on track to do that. Yes.
Okay, great. And next questions. Just as we think about adjacent segments outside of education, what are some of the other customer types you're going after? Perhaps
so if you look at it, if we break it down into the two revenue streams, if you look at our traditional SaaS model, it's essentially anyone that is offering commercial terms, but obviously, the system's quite sophisticated. So, to really see a return on investment and to really see, performance enhancement, you'd want to be sending out, most of our clients send out at least 1,000 invoices a month. So in the industries that we focus on, we're strong in professional services. We're obviously strong in health. We're strong in materials handling. Where the system comes into its own is those large volume invoicing businesses. Your infrastructure businesses, your logistics type businesses. That's where they see a real ROI return. Having said that, a lot of our other clients have the same tangible benefits, but when it really scales up, as I said, you've got a client sending out 100, 200,000 invoices a month. That's when the power of the system becomes a lot more evident. And from the transactional side of things with Convera, the next market we're looking at is, particularly in North America, will be healthcare. A lot of the listeners out there may have heard the term medical tourism. Where people from countries head to, say, someone from China, for example, might head to Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore to undertake a round of chemotherapy or some specialist, treatment. And what happens is the hospital, would send out an invoice. They would pay that invoice through Convera's platform. Okay, so that's a massive industry in the US, medical tourism. So, and Convera have a significant footprint in the healthcare space. So the next vertical that they want to target is that healthcare space on that transactional type model.
Great, thanks, Mark. And just pivoting back to the university market opportunity, in terms of potential scale, can you just help us understand the number of universities currently on your platform, including number of students? And how should we think about potential revenue per student over time?
Yeah, what's gonna so as I said, we sort of focus on student numbers, but essentially, if you look at it, there's about 370,000 international students in the UK studying in the UK, for example. Western Union probably reach and touch about 250,000 of those. So we reckon our addressable market in the UK is at presently, without winning any new business with Western Union, is about $50 million. $50 million. And then the market, the US, the North American market, we think is 2 to 3 times the size of that. And if we haven't sort of brought it down to that, we haven't publicized a student number, dollar per student number yet, but we are in the process of doing that. But it's the addressable market we see for revenue is around the $50 million market as it stands presently.
Great, thanks, Mark. Can you just talk to us about the onboarding time, marginal cost of onboarding for the individual universities and potential hospitals?
Sure. So the onboarding, that's a very good question, because the onboarding from our end, we're very agile, but we do, we are reliant to a degree. We're not heavy from an IT perspective. We're reasonably light touch when it comes to onboarding, but we do require some support from the IT team. So in a perfect world, we can have someone onboarded inside 30 days, as long as we've got full support from their IT team. Now, and that same goes for enterprise clients as well. Larger private clients, it's engaging with the IT team. A lot of them, as you probably, your listeners and you're aware, they have IT has a number of projects, not just AR. So it's finding a slot. So we can do it inside 30 days. It depends on the other side, but we're finding depending on whether they require any customizations, which we build for them. But generally, Simon, 30 to 60 days.
Sure. Perfect. Thanks, Mark. If we just move to headcount operating leverage, how many heads do you have within the business globally, and what else forms your fixed cost base, and should we expect this to grow as revenue scales?
That's a really good question, because one of the the key differentiators we see for us is our operating leverage. So what we have at the moment globally, probably about 20 to 22 heads, split between Australia, some developers in the Philippines, and then staff in the US and UK. Now, the beauty of the relationship with Convera and some other channel partners that we have is I don't need a sales team, a huge sales team in those areas. So the sales will grow as Convera rolls it out to the universities and then moves on to the healthcare, and we are developing our relationship with Convera is not exclusive. We do have other channel providers in those jurisdictions. So the revenue can increase significantly without the cost base increasing at the same rate. We will have to put on probably more account managers type support people as we move forward. But if the revenue goes up, 1,000%, the costs aren't going up anywhere near that. Costs might go up 20%, 30%. So that's where that operational leverage kicks in, because one, the system's built, we don't have any inputs. We're not a manufacturer, so our gross margin's almost 100%. And then, as I said, we don't have to employ a massive sales force in those jurisdictions as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. Can you share a timeline and KPIs for the Convera rollout in North America?
Yeah, we're hoping to see the first one, the first university in the next, I'd say, 3 months. But obviously that's dependent on, obviously we're about to move into North American or Northern Hemisphere summer, and there will be a bit of downtime. So that may move out, but we expect to see, others, we're reasonably confident of some other signings of commercial clients in the US through inside that period through other channel partners as well. But I think the Education North America rollout, you're probably looking sort of the back half of calendar 23 to start seeing some real signings in that area.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. And just final question, what's your current customer or organisation concentration, and how would you anticipate this to evolve over time, and how lumpy are some of these organisations when they join the platform?
Yeah, interesting. Well, the universities are a classic example of lumpiness. Okay, so they bill in peaks and troughs. Most of the commercial clients are obviously steady. It's a monthly basis. But the universities are the ones that are going to provide us with our peaks and troughs. And from a revenue perspective at the moment, the universities are starting to, they don't dominate, but they're not far away from dominating it. But there will be enough spread across different jurisdictions to smooth out that lumpiness across the board.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. That concludes the Q&A segment. Mark, thanks very much for presenting. And if anyone had any follow-up or further questions, wanted to organise a one-on-one, Mark's more than happy to talk to the business. So please just reach out. Mark, thanks so much for presenting, and thanks all for attending.
Thanks for the opportunity. Good afternoon.
Cheers. Thanks.